Hey, it's John here from John Still Runs. Today I want to talk about jogging and jeffing and why I think they're two of the most important concepts of running training this century for the average runner. Perhaps not the elite runner, but the average runner like you and I. Jogging and jeffing, words coined by two famous running coaches. One gone, one still living. So let's define the words jogging and jeffing, and then how about we have a talk about Arthur Lydiard and Jeff Galloway, the guys that had coined these words, jogging and jeffing. Jogging, the activity of running, note running, not walking, at a steady, gentle pace as a form of physical exercise. And jeffing, a running technique that involves alternating between running and walking intervals to improve endurance and reduce fatigue. Jogging and jeffing. I first became aware of Arthur Lydiard as a running coach in the 1970s, when at school the running coach that we had for cross-country and athletics extolled the benefits of developing an endurance base and establishing that, plus strength training and then speed training on top of that. So this periodisation was very important to my running coach, Tony Booth, back in the 70s at my school. But it was a little bit later that, perhaps in the 1980s, that I became aware of something else that Arthur Lydiard instituted, something that he called jogging, which I was confused. Well, I just thought that was a lazy runner's way of running, faster than walking, but not proper running as such. But in fact, it was a way that Arthur explained to men and women in the early 1960s, initially, in Auckland, New Zealand. I believe at a Lions Service Club meeting, where he was talking about this activity that he called jogging as an easier way of running, something that even the average middle-aged man or woman could do without having a heart attack or something. Because at that stage, running was considered probably unhealthy for people with serious health problems, or certainly not something you would do to improve your health long term. So then he formed the Auckland Joggers Club in, I think, 1961, and a whole group of people enjoyed that around New Zealand in other jogging clubs. And a guy from America called Bill Bauman, an famous American coach at the time, came over to New Zealand with his 1 mile relay team, I believe, and competed against some of Arthur Lydiard's athletes. So remember, Arthur Lydiard was a fantastic running coach, not always accepted by the mainstream New Zealand Athletics Committee. I think it could be said he was quite unpopular. He was a man of very strong views, Arthur, apparently, and you dare not disagree with him. He knew a lot about exercise physiology that was known at the time, not because he was formally educated, he was self-taught. Amazing man that gathered a group of young men initially, and later on women, runners, to compete at the very top of the world, winning Olympic and Commonwealth Games medals, gold, silver and bronze. But jogging was something that I became aware of and thought, it's not something I would do. There's either walking or running. No such thing as jogging. It's a made-up word, isn't it? Just slow running. Well, in fact, you could call it zone 1 or 2 heart rate training, and very important if you use it over a long period of time of becoming fitter and potentially healthier. Jogging. So thank you, Arthur, born in 1917, passed away while on a lecture tour in the United States. In 2004, I believe he died suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 87. He did well. And back to Bill Bowerman. I was going to tell you about Bill. He had a lot of influence in America. He even spoke to the American president at the time, JF Kennedy. Had a lot of influence as far as the policies of health is concerned as this running coach. He took through America and talked about jogging, something that he'd learnt from this New Zealand coach, Arthur Lydiard. Jogging became popular in America, and I think you could say safely a running boom happened in the 1970s, one of the first running booms that have occurred over the last 50 odd years, thanks to probably Arthur Lydiard. Jeff Galloway. I became aware of Jeff Galloway around about the same time as Arthur Lydiard in the 1970s. I used to read a magazine called Track and Field News that I found in the school library that talked a lot about these American athletes, Frank Shorter, Jack Batchelor, Kenny Moore, and Jeff Galloway. Jeff was a very, very good runner, perhaps not quite at the same level as those other guys, but still very good. He subsequently became a running coach and has coached tens of thousands of people, maybe more, and has written quite a few books, some of which I've had over the years. And he's also been very big, like Lydiard, in developing an endurance base of running. And to extend that base, he discovered that throwing regular walking intervals into your running enabled you to run further and with less fatigue, which therefore had added all the benefits that a longer run can provide to your training and to your fitness and health. Jeff had a heart attack about 4 years ago, I think it was 2021, and miraculously survived. He was in the right place at the time. He was at a hospital having some tests when his heart stopped. He was revived by the medical staff, and apparently when he woke up, the nurse was dancing around in joy that he had woken up and come out of that situation. So I think he subsequently had a pacemaker put in. Jeff was born in 1945, and I think that makes him 80 this year. So I think that also goes to prove that running is not a panacea that will prevent all health issues. I can testify to that, having my own heart issues and of course prostate cancer. Running certainly has improved my quality of life, and in fact has probably protected me in lots of ways. So I'd like to continue. John still runs, and apparently Jeff still runs too. And to wrap it up, I believe that Jeff and Arthur met each other at least once at a running camp that Jeff Galloway organised, probably in the late 90s. So yes, I guess, Jeff, you probably have an opinion of Arthur, a high opinion I would expect. And we can all credit, I think, Arthur to the importance of endurance for building that base and to periodise our training as we coach athletes. But for the average Joe Blow runner, like you and me, jogging, in other words, slower running, is very beneficial, and don't be afraid to walk. Jeffing is good too.